Hey guys, I am going to go over the steps of how to draw an eye. This will be a very simple demonstration. I will be going off of a photo of my own eye and talk about the shapes and the textures, what I would like to see in your eye drawings. Okay, the first step that I would like you to do is the very outline shape of your eye. It kind of looks like an almond or kind of like a deflated football. And the goal of this is to look at your own eye, either from a photo or a mirror or off your camera, and see where it kind of dips down and where it kind of slants up to make it look like yours. What I normally like to do first is to start off with a basic almond shape down. So it kind of goes up and wider, and then it droops down on my edges. Yours may be different. Yours may be a little bit wider looking or slanted, and everyone's is a little bit different, so you need to look at yours and see what's the shape. I'm going to change this up. It's a little bit wide than my photo. I'm going to come down, and this goes for any type of eye that you are drawing. You got to look at the outline shape, and then you can start building up from there. Okay, the next shape I'm going to do is my cornea. The cornea is the colored part of your eye, and most of the time that your eye covers up, this goes over more, the very top part of the colored part of your eye, and just a little bit on your bottom. If I were to continue that circle, it'd be, a full circle, but my eyelid is covering that, okay? So obviously, my eyelid is not see-through, so I will erase that. I have that. My next step is my pupil. The pupil is the black part of your eye. You don't want to make this itty-bitty or really huge. You want it about maybe 3/4 of the size of your cornea that you have drawn. And then I'm going to add some highlights. The highlight shows like the wetness of your eyes, and it shows that you're still alive. I kind of like to call it the sparkle in your eye. Okay, so with this, you can add highlights wherever you want in your eye. The more highlights you have, it makes it look like you're crying or you're about to cry, so very emotional. But most of the time, I like to add at least 2 or 3, and I like to do this in the upper corner of the eyeball. So I'm going to add like a janky looking square right there that's overlapping my cornea and my pupil, and I'm going to add kind of like a crescent shape off of that. And I'm going to leave this the wide of the paper. I'm not going to touch them. I'm going to draw around those areas right there. And while I'm here, I'm going to draw in the black part of my pupil. The shapes and lines and everything is the outside of her eye. Right above her eye, we have an eyelid. And when our eye is resting, or when it's open and resting, you just have a line right above. So go ahead and draw that. It's like a curved line, and it kind of goes out like that. All right. And then on the bottom part, we have our eyelid. Our eyelid has a thickness. And we want to show that with the extra line right there. The extra line doesn't really connect to anything. It's just part of our skin. It kind of sits right there. Sometimes people's eyelid is a lot thicker in that area versus really small. Also looks different too when you have makeup or you're wearing makeup. All right, the next part is the eyebrow. You want to have the shape of your eyebrow on there. And most of the time, it comes up from the corner, and it sits right above this line. Go straight up. I'm going to draw kind of like a straight line up and down. And then where it ends, if you take your pencil and kind of angle it out, it kind of ends right there. So, and it's like a curved line. For more of a feminine look, your eyebrow is more sculpted and outlined. For more of a masculine look, usually those eyebrows are not sculpted and they can be a little bit messier and a little bit straighter looking. All right, from here, we're going to go ahead and start doing the shading. I'm going to go ahead and do the inside part of the shading of my eye because as I work on the outside, I don't want to mess up the inside here. Okay, so when we start doing the shading on the inside part of the cornea, there's different values and shadows and textures. If you really look at a picture close of your cornea, it's really, really cool and really textured, and we want to capture that texture. Most of the time, the outline part of her cornea is a little bit darker. So when I start shading, I'm going to have that outline just a little bit darker. And as I shade, I'm going to go in and out from the center. And I want to keep in this direction as I am shading, because that's how the muscles are in the cornea, and I want to try to duplicate that. You can see here that the edges of this is not clean. You kind of want it scratchy looking as it goes towards the pupil. And then you want a darker edge surrounding your pupil going out to the outer edge. And it's going to look really kind of trippy looking as you're drawing this. It's going to look like you're a zombie or something. But trust me in this process and take your time with this. This is the most detailed part of your eye. And you need to have this looking good so that the rest of your eye looks good as well. I'm going to darken my pupil as I'm here. All right, so I have a darker ring on the outside and a darker ring on the inside part of my cornea. And what I'm going to do in the middle, I'm just going to lightly shade in. Ever so lightly. I'm going to leave kind of like a scratchiness going on still. Remember to leave those highlights nice and clean. And then I'm going to take my finger and kind of soften it up in some areas. Remember, don't over smudge it. Then you're going to take your eraser and ever so lightly kind of smudge and erase some highlights in between your eye. Now remember, if you have blue eyes versus brown eyes or whatever shade, you want to make sure the darkness matches the darkness in the shading of your cornea. It's a ball, and since it's a sphere in a ball, it needs to have some shading along with that. Now in the corners of our eyes, you need to put in a little curved line to show the pink part of our eye. There's actually two parts of that on each corner. Don't shade this in super dark or it's going to look like you're thin. The white part of your eye, you just want some very light shading all the way around the white part. Ever so softly. Don't over smudge it. You don't want your eyeball to be gray. We still have some light areas. I'm going to go ahead and move on from the shading inside my eye. I'm shading inside my eye. To more of the shading on the outside of your eye. The shading on the outside of your eye is pretty simple. You have your eyelid right there on the very top, and because your eyelid is round, kind of curving around your eyeball, you want to add some shadow there. So right underneath it, you're going to do it really, really soft. You're going to bring down a slight shadow. And as I'm doing this, I'm keeping an eye out on my photo, making sure I'm getting my shadows where they need to be, because I want to make it look realistic and like my own eyeball. Notice that my eyelid doesn't go down as far on this side, so I'm going to lift it up. Underneath your eye, there's some shading as well because your eyeball is like within your eye socket. Your eye kind of sticks out. Now, I'm a bit older, so I have an extra wrinkle or two that's coming out from my eye. Check to see if you have that wrinkle too. Sometimes you just have natural wrinkles like that. Then, if you're using a Q-tip, you have some residue left on your Q-tip, and you're actually going to use that to draw right underneath that original line that we had. I'm going to go ahead and do my eyebrows. With my eyebrows, they grow in a certain direction. Near the corner, they are going to grow up, and then they're going to curve around with our eye. Now, you want to do this in your hatch marks. You don't want to color it in, or it's going to look like you're wearing clown makeup. So it kind of goes up, and then they're going to curve around this way. Again, if you want more feminine looking eyebrows, they're usually sculpted and they're cleaner. For masculine looking eyes, they are a little bit messier around the edges. They don't really have a certain shape kind of going on to them. Okay, they go up and away from your eye. I like to start off with the corner. Now, as I'm drawing and putting in details, I don't want to smudge up my drawing, so I'm going to put down an extra sheet of paper and have my hand rub on the paper and not my drawing, okay? So with individual strokes, kind of like a curved hatch mark, I'm going to start off with the corner and go away and kind of like swoop up and away. It has kind of like a curve. And as I'm adding more, because I don't want it to look like SpongeBob eyelashes, I'm going to add some thickness. I'm going to go back, make some thicker and some thinner so that it looks a little bit more natural, because eyelashes are not perfectly straight or even. As you get up towards the middle of your eye, you're going to kind of go up and then curve back around. Okay, and then you're going to follow your own outlines of filling in some darker areas and some lighter areas. Okay. On your bottom eyelashes, they actually grow out of that eyelid that we have. So, and along with this one, you want to go in the same direction as straight down, and we're going to curve away from our eye. You don't want this one to be as thick or as long as your upper ones. It's just the nature of our eyelashes that we're just a little bit thinner on the bottom. Then I'm going to go in, I'm going to lighten up my eyelashes a little bit on the bottom. They're on the heavy side. I'm going to add a little bit to the ones on the top. It's a little heavy. Remember, you can draw with your eraser just as much as you can with the actual pencil tip. I'm going to go in and clean up any areas that need to be cleaned. Be careful about smudge marks or adding smudges where you need it, kind of like the curve around your nose right here, because you have an indent. I'm going to add a little bit of shading around. For your eyeball, the main things I'm looking for are appropriate shapes, the outside and the inside of your eye, and an appropriate shading, soft shading on the white part of your eye and your skin. And you need texture in the eyeball going in and out from your pupil. And you'll need to have the correct texture for the hair, your eyelashes and your eyebrows at the short little hatch marks. Okay?